You read the title. No, this isn't an issue in how inaccurate some of the adaptations for Venom have been. No, this isn't a problem with how Eddie Brock is being written in some of these adaptations. No, the problem is deeper than that and has been prevalent in every Spider-Man movie, cartoons, and even video games. Also, I sort of lied. Venom has always been Spider-Man's most popular villain, more so than Green Goblin and Doc Ock. He has had his own ongoing comic series for the better part of who knows how long, and is being better received than even Spidey's own mainline comics. He has been the main villain in some of Spider-Man's most popular video games, and is even going to end up getting a movie trilogy before Superman. Alright, I'm just being an asshole. Superman did have a trilogy back in the day. I mean, he even got a fourth movie, but let's be honest, those don't even count. I mean, they were pretty trash, so it's not like we even remember them. Anyways, let's get back on topic. Venom throughout Spider-Man media has always been the main attraction. However, compared to other Spider-Man villains, Venom, more likely than not, has always gotten the short end of the stick when it came to the quality of his adaptations. He was the main villain in Spider-Man 3, but it was considered the worst of the Raimi trilogy. He has had his own film series, however, without the connection to Spider-Man, leaves out some of the most interesting aspects of the entire Venom character. And even in this year's Spider-Man 2, while the game has been getting critical praise from just about the entire industry, Venom, at least to me, doesn't feel like he has much to do in the game. With Spider-Man being in the black suit for most of the game's length, Venom was only really present in the third act of the game. Aside from that point, that I just don't like Harry as Venom, I feel like Kraven should have been the main villain of Spider-Man 2. That's besides the point. The problem with Venom is that in nearly every adaptation he's been in, we have needed so many things to happen to finally get to Venom himself. In order for us to finally get to see Venom, we need to see the introduction of the symbiote. Whether or not it came from outer space or they go the ultimate route and say it was created in a lab doesn't matter. We need to see it get onto Peter, then we need to have an entire arc where Peter has the suit, gains powers from it, and slowly see the negative effects that suit has on Peter to where it becomes too addicted for him to keep going. Then we need to see Peter cross a line where he would need to take the suit off. Meanwhile, we need to see Eddie slowly start hating on Peter so he gets some motivation later on to attack Peter once he becomes Venom. And then once all those events happen, then we finally get to see Venom. This happens way too often that once we get to Venom, there's no time to truly flesh out the rivalry between the two because we either get a Spider-Man 3, where the movie was panned at the time for cramming too much, or this year's Spider-Man 2, where they actually took the time to flesh out Peter's arc with the suit. However, they didn't have enough time to have Venom in the game for longer than what it feels like 15 minutes. The idea that we need so many prerequisites to happen in order to finally get what we want, I would say got old like a decade ago, and is part of the reason why, for the most part, Venom hasn't worked nearly as well as Goblin or Doc Ock have in other media. Like, it's fine that we get a full origin of Venom for the first time like how we did in the animated series, or even an updated version like in Spectacular Spider-Man, where we actually had the time to flesh out that story, right? But after multiple iterations, it just becomes tedious and just plain lazy, especially when it has been done so well to the point where that in order to continue going down this route of Venom means that the creators need to dramatically change the origin in order for the story to feel fresh, when in reality it just makes it less interesting than what came before. Again, I don't like Harry as Venom. It just doesn't work, and Harry is far more interesting as the Green Goblin to me. Eddie Brock is Venom. There's no debate about that. And anyone else who wears a symbiote is just fraud to me, besides Peter, of course. So now that I laid out my issues with Venom, what is the solution? Well, I did mention earlier in the video that I had two exceptions to the rule, and here it is. Venom's iteration in Neversoft Spider-Man and in Web of Shadows were the prime example of how he should be used. Both games are great because they let us have Venom right from the beginning. We don't need to see Peter in the black suit, we don't need to see Eddie slowly hating on Peter, and we don't even need to wait countless hours before we get to the good parts. They just let us have them interact with Venom right off the bat, and it is so refreshing. We need to get back to this. Like, say what you want about the MCU Spider-Man trilogy, but one of the things I love about those movies is that when it comes to the origins of Vulture and Mysterio, despite not being accurate to the source material, just gives us these villains right off the bat instead of making us wait until they become who they are just to make us more invested in them. That doesn't always need to be the case. I want a Spider-Man movie or cartoon where we get to see Venom right off the bat. Seeing his toxic relationship with Peter and how it develops over the course of the story, and when it's him evolve into an anti-hero and then eventually a father like he does in the comics. To me, that is way more interesting and something we actually haven't seen before in mainstream media. In fact, I want to see an established rogues gallery with Spider-Man, already having dealt with the majority of his villains. The closest you can say this has happened in recent media is Insomniac's Spider-Man. However, that's not even the case because Peter actually hasn't fought any of his arch nemesis like, you know, the Green Goblin and Doc Ock at the start of Spider-Man PS4. Alright, I'm going a bit off topic, but the point is that we need to get back to Venom adaptations that use the characters so well like Web of Shadows and Neversoft Spider-Man did. Venom to this day has yet to properly get an adaptation that is worth putting on top of the best villain iterations, and it has been such a disappointment because the potential Venom has as a villain is as massive as he is. Hopefully Insomniac still has a future with Venom and we get to see that Venom spin-off game that has been rumored for a while now. Because at this point, I don't want to wait years just to have the same story repeated all over again just to get to the good parts. Well, that's it for the video. Let me know what you guys think. I know this has been a short video, but I promise I am working on another one, so just wait for that in the meanwhile. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.